What's going on, guys? Apathetic here, and today we are going to be discussing how to improve your aim on console and PC. So no matter what platform you're on, this video will have tips that are relevant to you and that you can hopefully implement into your game to help climb the ranks in competitive Crucible. Now let's get right into it. Consistency is going to be the first tip when it comes to improving your game in the Crucible. And what I mean by this is being consistent with your settings when it comes to your sensitivity and button layout. So take time and research some of your favorite players in the Crucible and use that as a baseline for what sensitivity you want to use, and then stick to that. A lot of people will switch sensitivity and not be instantly better and will switch again. What this is doing is messing with your muscle memory when it comes to aiming, and every time you switch things up, your muscle memory is going to go through an adjustment period. So be patient and remind yourself when you're frustrated that's okay, and you're just adjusting to your new sensitivity changes. Now, you heard me say to find your favorite player and use that sense as a baseline. Keyword there is baseline. Another mistake people make is they will just copy other players' sensitivity and force themselves to adjust to that sense when it may not be optimal for them. They may not have the same reaction time. There's a lot of factors into why some players choose their sensitivity. So remember, you gotta find what works for you and understand there will be an adjustment period. Just be patient with yourself and you will see improvements over time. For those of you wondering, on PC, I play on 10 sensitivity at 400 DPI, and I landed on that because I felt my aim, no matter what the situation felt, the most steady with those settings. And I found on faster sensitivities, my aim would just spaz out sometimes. Or if I got into higher pressure situations, or maybe higher pressure games like higher levels of competitive, when I was on higher sensitivity, my aim would just go crazy. Movement is our next tip, and this one is very important because your aim is largely affected by your movement. So when you're getting into a gunfight, your goal is to be as unpredictable as possible, but not so unpredictable you're throwing off your own aim. So what this translates to, as much as possible, when in a gunfight, you want to be boots on the ground. So you need to limit jumping and skating once in the gunfight. I know you hunters are like going insane right now, and in certain scenarios, maybe with a shotgun or something, jumping can be good, but by and large, you're going to want to limit that. What that does is it allows you to develop a strafe pattern that will allow you to find your rhythm when aiming at your opponents, but also simultaneously throwing off your opponent's aim. Now, the second part of movement ties into your environment, and by that I mean peak shotting. Peak shotting is taking a shot at your enemy, dropping back into cover as they shoot back, and then popping back out to shoot again, and repeating that until you win the engagement. Peak shotting is one of the best methods to improve your aim, because each time you go behind cover, you're giving yourself a crucial second to readjust your aim, and you have a better idea of where your enemy is, because each time you come out based on their movement, you know where to aim next. Movement is all about getting yourself into a rhythm when aiming, making yourself less predictable and harder to shoot, and making your enemies more predictable and easier to aim at. Movement is critical for your aim, guys, so make sure you're being intentional with that. Our next tip involves adaptability, and this one is pretty straightforward, but I felt we should still cover it. Adaptability means adapting to the gun you are using. There are people out there that try to shoot and aim every gun the same way. Whatever loadout you're using, it's important to understand how the weapon handles, how much range it has, the rate of fire, because all these things can positively or negatively impact your aim. For example, when I first started using Thorn, I struggled with it because I was trying to use it like Ace of Spades, which handles totally different, has a completely different recoil pattern, way less range, all these different things. But once I settled in and really focused on Thorn's recoil pattern, the range is its most effective at, and the handling of the gun, it felt night and day better, because I was aiming Thorn and trying to handle like Ace of Spades. I was really hindering my success. And so being able to adapt to different weapons and loadouts, and being mindful of the different feel and effective ranges of different weapons, can really improve your aim. Warming up is our second to last tip, and this is as simple as it sounds. Allowing yourself time to warm up your aim. Don't feel the need to go straight into competitive cold. Jump into escalation protocol or quick play and allow yourself to get into a rhythm and emulate how you would want to play in competitive. Try to hit as many headshots and slide around as much as possible till you start feeling yourself enter a rhythm. Allow yourself time to just land some headshots on a couple of thralls, jump in the quick play, get some high kill games, build your confidence, get into a rhythm, warm up. So many people feel the need. There's like, I'm so good, I gotta jump into competitive, and they get so frustrated and discouraged because they didn't give themselves time to warm up, adjust to playing, and get in that zone before jumping into competitive. And the most important thing is it allows you to focus on aiming at your opponent through your sights, being as intentional with your movements as possible, which is going to lead me to our last tip, and that is focus. I know it sounds just like so basic, but it's true. If you want your aim to be as crisp as possible, none of the tips I mentioned work without focus. You need to have your eyes very focused on your reticle. People often miss shots when their eyes drift away, even for a second, away from their reticle. Sometimes it's unavoidable, but we can at least limit how much it happens by being aware of it and putting as much focus into your reticle as possible during gunfights. Of course, once you're out of your gunfight, let your eyes drift wherever, but the second you engage someone, you should be locked in on that reticle. And the great thing is, you can practice this tip and implement all the other tips I mentioned. And as you do that bit by bit, you feel your aim improve and you'll have the confidence to challenge anyone in the Crucible. All right, guys, and to summarize how to improve your aim, you want to be consistent with the settings you use and give yourself time to adjust. Focus on your movement and using your environment to better predict your opponents. Be adaptable with the guns you use and be intentional with how you use them. Give yourself time to warm up, and lastly, focus on that reticle and practice that focus as you implement some of these tips. I'll be doing more tips for competitive coming soon, and let me know in the comments below if there is anything related to Crucible you would be interested in getting tips on. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Only 1 minute left. Two for one. 30 seconds. Double down, and that's why we have fire team. This is wonderful. I could not ask for a better victory. You showed no remorse. That's how you...
Perfect.